One great thing about Brompton is that you can take it together with you on a holiday and cycle hassle-free overseas. But if you are flying with your bike, you need to think about a decent bag and pack it in a way that it actually survives the ordeal. In this video, I want to share my experience of traveling with the P-Line Brompton on a family holiday in Portugal, the pros and cons of using the B&W Hard Case for it, and some reflections about cycling in the Algarve region. In general, traveling with Brompton is great. You can check in a bag with it and pick it up when you land. However, you would need to do some disassembly before flying. When you arrive at your destination, now it's the time to assemble your bike. Both assembly and disassembly are actually quite trivial. There are two main parts that I had to remove: the advanced roller frame and the saddle. You would also need a set of tools for the job, and I used the Brompton Bicycle Toolkit, which you can hide inside the frame until you need it. You would also need to adjust your saddle before hitting the road. I will also be sharing a detailed review of the B&W case further in this video. Feel free to jump to a respective section using the timecodes if you like. And now we are ready to explore the magnificent coastline from the saddle of the bike. Cycling in Portugal is totally worth bringing your bike with you. One thing to consider is cycling along the coastline to enjoy the amazing sea view of the Atlantic Ocean. Road cycling is also very enjoyable, with decent quality roads and scenic nature views all over the country. Some places really surprised me, like these grey-looking trees along the road, which I think were covered with some sort of chalk or limestone, giving them completely out of this world look at sunrise. My main cycling destination was the city of Quarteira, where you can cycle along the beautiful embankment, sitting on top of the sandy Quarteira beach. Cycling further from the coastline is also great, with enough cycleways and mixed-use pathways to enjoy the ride. Cycling along the motorways is also not too intimidating. Beaches in Algarve are absolutely amazing. They are perfect for a relaxing family holiday. And with Brompton, you can easily pop into local cafes for some refreshments. The Algarve region is also famous for its magnificent coastline and caves, with Benagil cave being the most famous one. Benagil is one of very few caves in the world that has been eroded both from the side and from the top, resulting in an opening in the ceiling that allows the sunlight to enter. You can reach it only from the water, but you can actually set foot or swim inside the cave. On top of caves exploration, you can also find dolphins in their natural habitat nearby, and we are quite lucky to observe plenty of them from the boat. Portugal is well known for its agriculture, and if you are a fan of pick-your-own-produce activities, there are some great farms to visit. I can highly recommend Quinta de Santo Estevao farm, where you can pick sweet Portuguese oranges, feed the donkeys, see a bit of every produce that Algarve has to offer, and have a great time overall. Olive oil is another point of pride for Portugal, and Monterosa olive oil farm is a great place to see olive oil production with your own eyes. The place is extremely beautiful and manufactures its oil in a very natural and traditional way. Hence you can see olives covered with a clay mixture to preserve them without the usage of any harmful chemicals. You can also learn lots of interesting things about olive oil and even taste different types of oil on the farm, as well as bringing a few bottles home with you. Now let's talk about some key considerations to make your trip with Brompton as smooth as possible. There are two main things that you need to think about. First one is the actual bag to fit your Brompton in, and second one, how to fit it reasonably comfortably. With bags there are lots of options out there. I have opted in for this guy, which is B&W Hard Case. To be very honest with you, I don't entirely like this bag. I don't think it's a great value for money, but I have found it to be the safest and most robust option to fly with your Brompton. So what is great about this bag? Its main selling point is this hard case that should keep your Brompton safe and comfortable. The bag is relatively heavy, but not too much. It's somewhere around 9 kilos. It also has 2 wheels to maneuver around, and then a telescopic handle, which looks like this. To open the bag, you need to undo these 2 Velcro straps. And there are also a set of locks that you can unlock with a key. So let's do it like this. And then you need to push the button on both locks to actually open the bag. Now, if you open the bag, you see these 2 big foam pads that should keep your Brompton safe and comfortable during your flight. Now, what I don't exactly like about this bag. The first point, it indeed has this hard shell, but it's rather thin. And when it hits something, it develops these kind of white marks, which does not seem extremely durable to me. The second point, which is probably my main concern with the bag, is the telescopic handle. The handle itself is rather flimsy, and it does not stick in the middle position. And overall, I don't think it's great. Another problem is related to handle. So as you can see, there's only one handle on the back, and there are no side handles anywhere here, which is not extremely comfortable if you need to lift it up, given that the bag is actually quite heavy. The third problem is related to wheels. So the bag has 2 sets of wheels, which are these guys here, and it limits its mobility a little bit. It would make a lot of sense to have 2 additional wheels here and have all of them omnidirectional. Plus another problem, that the wheels are made of hard plastic, so they're extremely noisy if you're going through uneven and hard surface. On top of that, when you actually pick up the bag with the Brompton inside, the metal rim, so this guy here, snaps out of the place. So you actually need to squeeze it back in when the bag is back on the ground. It's not critical, but it's quite annoying. The last point, the bag costs somewhere between 230 and 240 pounds, and I don't actually think it's a good value for money. There are lots of flimsy components like these guys and suboptimal design choices, and I would expect more for this price. However, I do believe it's the safest option to travel with Brompton so far, especially when you fly, unless you go into some kind of custom setup. So I would stick with this option so far. Now, out of the store, Brompton should fit just fine into this bag, but I have lots of bells and whistles and additional extremities on my bike, so I need to deal with them first. 2 main points that I need to disassemble is my saddle. So I have a standard B17 Brook saddle, which does not fit at all, so I must remove it. And then the second point is my advanced roller frame, which is this guy here. You can actually fly with it, so it's a bit wider than the standard setup. But the problem is that it will almost stick inside the hard shell of the bag, and it actually tears the foam padding in the bag. So I would suggest removing it before you actually travel. This time I decided to remove the saddle together with the pentaclip, rather than disassembling it as I did before, which happened to be much easier and worked quite well. The whole assembly and disassembly process takes somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes. You can also avoid the assembly process altogether if you decide to travel without the advanced roller frame and with a narrower saddle. Lastly, I would also suggest covering some extremities of your bike, like a foldable pedal, with a piece of cloth or sponge to absorb any potential shocks during the trip. Now we are ready to fly. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. I wish you all the best on your cycling journey, and see you next time.